It's the story of a family in the 60s.
Okay.
You had to be there. It was a TV show. What?
All right, we're recording.
We're the Brady Bunch 50 years later.
Hi.
And anyway, we are recording.
We are.
What a way to start, you know?
Yeah. We're here.
So,
So we're very sorry. YouTube Live won't be live for 24 hours. So we will be uploading this to all you people that see this in the next 24 hours. Sorry we weren't there.
We look up 10 years from now.
it's like reincarnation, but it'll be born tomorrow, not today. But in a timeless universe, and 100 years ago, if people see this, they'll just say like,
It's just a long labor. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, we're getting started. We just said this is our first time at the Seth House trying to do something like this, high tech, and we so appreciate every one of you who's showing up to share this and to support this probable reality here. We have something team people here, I guess. We could do that thing of just going around everybody saying their name if they want to, and maybe a sentence like "I love Seth," or take a few seconds to introduce yourself, where you are. That's the exciting thing about this is we're all over the world, and Europe, America, and who knows where next. So what do you think, Kate? Again, we're being spontaneous. We are making this up as we go along. We have a few things on our to-do list, but it's spontaneous. And we all get to create this together. We need everybody's input and a conversation. And you remember, you might share something with us that changes our lives. Ideas shared change everything. So especially with the Seth books, talking about this, it's such potential for really touching each other. Even though we can't touch each other, it's against the law in some places without washing my hands and everything. But we can do it online, and it's safe. I'll let Kate talk some more again. I just went too far. I'm sorry. Kate?
Kate is still, let me do some more technical stuff.
Kate is techie.
I am.
So,
I have to go over to YouTube to let people know why we're not there.
Okay, and then to direct them over here. So we can. And again, just to say, we're here at the Seth House in Elmira, New York. And this is where Jane Roberts channeled Seth. We are in the very room where most of the Seth works were first spoken, where most of all of their books were written, is right here in this space. And we're so happy to bring you here. We're going to walk the computer around all over the house and show you some of these things. And I've been in this building over 3 years, about 3.5 years, and every day it just continues to blow my mind that this is where it happened. This is where they lived, where they walked, where they thought, where they read, where Willie the cat jumped on her lap, where the river rose up and flooded the whole area. So there's so much we're looking forward to showing you. And like I said, there's so much we're looking forward to hearing from you about what this material means to you. I'll also say little math and statistics. Jane and Rob moved into this building in 1960. That was the year I was born. And they lived here until 1975. That's 15 years. And it was in 1963, about 3 years after they moved in, that Seth introduced himself right around where we're sitting, right around this table here. Many of you know they were experimenting with a Ouija board, and it was like a cosmic telephone. He was able to say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm coming over. I'm Seth. Let's talk." And so from 1963 to 1975, Seth channeled through Jane in this place, and most of their books were written here. That includes Seth Speaks, Nature of First Reality, Unknown Reality, and the 9-volume set now of the early sessions. Now remember, the early sessions are from session 1 to 510. All of them here, that 9-volume set, all of them here, all spoken here. The walls heard everything. they moved away in 1975, and her health was steadily declining. They bought a house on the west side of Elmira. So again, most of the work was done here. And it's the iconic house that you see pictures of, that like, this is where it happened. So this is where you are. If you were wondering what number you dialed on your Zoom, and you did come to the right place if you were looking for Seth stuff. This is the place. Kate, how are we doing?
Oh, YouTube just won't let me do anything. So I'm going to post on Facebook, at least telling people that YouTube Live isn't working to jump on Zoom.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. We're here together. Now I think we got even some more people showing up. I'm so glad. Okay. Well, when you're ready, then we can start maybe introducing people and opening up the conversation. And by the way, if you don't want to talk, we will torture you. We will get out of you what we want. We're jolly. Yeah, I'm kidding. You know that. So if you don't want to talk, you can just say your name and hi and turn off your mic or whatever you want. But I feel really good. This is working. We were off to a really good start here, and I'm so glad to see you people. And then some of you we know from so many ways, and we're so glad you're supporting this. And okay.
All right, Kate is going to turn all this stuff off now and go back to Zoom. Okay, here we are. Hi.
Hi. Kate, why don't we start with you? What would you like to say to everybody?
Say about me. Hi, everybody. This is so nice. I am truly happy, you know, that the world situation has brought us together. In a way of keeping people apart, it's actually brought more of us together that wouldn't have been able to see each other, hear each other, speak to each other. So I think it's wonderful, and I am so happy that, what do we have? We have a lot of people on here. I love this. It's great. I own a local business. I am a healer. I met Oshara 3.5 years ago. 3 years ago, we had the idea to make this place open to the public, and the rest is history. We've been talking about doing this very thing, being on Zoom, live broadcasts for the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. So this virus has pushed us to actually take the step and do it. Hello, new people.
Yeah, Francis just showed up. Hi, Francis Clark.
Do you see me?
I can't see you, but I saw you for a little bit.
Wait, Francis?
Yeah, Francis Moffat. She's here. She's in the bottom right at the bottom of the screen there. Well, more people coming in. Welcome.
Oh, I see Francis. I see her face. Yeah. Hi, Francis.
Me?
So who I can't see is Doland, Jill, Lorna, Julianne, Titan, Claire Marie, and Miglina.
Hi.
Hi. If you'd like to turn on your video, you're invited to. I know some people prefer to leave the video off. That's fine.
I think I have it. All right.
Okay, so if you want to put your video on, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine. You can do what you want with your mic. But as we said, we want to have a good communication.
Sorry. I put my
earbuds.
Yes. Sorry. I never did this. It's the first meeting by internet. I'm coming in, and you see, I'm German and I speak French and not so good English, but
You're just great, Claire. We hear you loud and clear, and we understand your English fine, and we're glad you're. Oh,
and look, there she is.
Hello there.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
Okay, so for those that don't have their video on, I'm going to invite you to turn it on. If you don't want to, that's fine, but some people need that invite to know how to do it.
Oh, you mean you're gonna send them something?
I'm gonna-
That's what
yes.
you mean. You're gonna be sent something.
Yep.
Behind you. In the meantime, why don't we start with the introductions? Like I said, just to get it kicked off, your name, where you are, a little something about how you like Seth, or what do you think? How's that sound? Whatever you want to say. You will channel the right thing to say. So, name, where you are, and whatever you want to say about Seth. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so how do we start this? I don't know what order. Just first name?
So Seth was introduced to me 3.5 years ago. It was when O'Shara came to town. So I'm probably the newest Sethie on here.
Never
And
know.
I'm so happy. Yeah. So why don't you go next?
Okay, well,
Miss
my name is O'Shara. I've been reading Seth since I was 21, which was almost 40 years ago. Almost 40 years I've been a Seth reader. And I moved here to Elmira into an apartment in the Seth House about 3.5 years ago. And now Kate and I, for a couple of years now, have been working hard on the Seth House to fix it up and open it to the public and make it a place for everyone to enjoy. That's good. Who'd like to pop in next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Just fine.
And this is Lorna, right?
Yeah, so this is Lorna. I'm in Philadelphia. I started reading Seth in the 70s. I think it's been the most impactful book or books I've ever read. I've read most of them. I didn't read all of them. I read all the Seth books. I didn't read some of her fiction, some of her poetry. I didn't read all of that, but I've read most of the Seth books. Since the 70s, when I first read the books, I've been in discussion groups here in Philly and New Jersey, always in a group. I go to conferences when I can find them. I had a Seth meetup for 7 years here in Philadelphia. So I'm a real fan. I even drove past the house. I was driving to Toronto 2 years ago, and I drove through Elmira and found the house and drove past. So that was a big thrill for me.
Next time you get to come in, just let us know.
Thank you.
Lorna, I'm going to interrupt with just saying, do you know a woman, Janine Oliver? She lives in Philadelphia, and she's a big Seth reader, too. Maybe we can hook you up.
No, I don't. Sure, if you want to hook us up.
Okay.
I belong to 2 Seth groups in Philly, and I had my own, like I said. I don't think she came to any of those.
All right. We're matchmakers here, so we'll connect you two later. So, and Seth groups are the way to go. I've been in so many, I've started them too, and that's where you can, anyway, it's a Seth
Yeah.
group.
Yeah, it helps you live it. Yeah.
Yes. Anything else, Lorna, or who wants to go next? Or
Hi, O'Shara.
Francis Clark.
You remember me?
I went to your yard sale, and the rest is history.
Yes. That was kind of weird how we met, and I don't know if you just kind of knew that I was kind of like into this stuff for a week or whatever. I don't know.
We found out at the yard sale that you were this way. Yes.
Right.
So where are you now, Francis?
Of course, people are going to call me now.
Oh, someone's phoning. Should we come back to you, or?
I'm sorry.
Do you need to get up, Francis, or do you want to?
I'm going to call her back later. But anyway, I just want to say, when I come, I'm hoping to be there the end of July. I want to stop by the house. You live there, right?
Off and on. We actually live somewhere else, but we come here for so many reasons. Like 2 days a week, we have open hours for anybody to come visit.
We did before this week.
Yeah, so that's why we're doing it this way now. We were told we can't have meetings there.
By July will be great.
Okay, good.
And we can have people
Stop
over.
by and
individually.
visit and see you once again.
Say again?
I'll have my family reunion then, so I think I'll probably drive up.
You're
But,
welcome anytime, Francis. So just give us a call and we'll open the doors. Totally.
Yeah.
Now, where are you located now, Francis?
I'm in Forest, North Carolina. I'm just north of Raleigh. So I'm just trying to start a real estate career here. I still work for my company FedEx, but I'm trying to begin a real estate career and retire with that. So it's a really nice area. I love weather. I love not having all the cold and bitter wind and all that stuff. So
Now,
he's trying to
as
get me
far
to move
as
to Philadelphia.
as far as like the Seth books, you have some familiarity with the
Well,
Seth?
actually, I tried reading a Seth book I was gifted a Seth book by a friend of mine, and I tried reading it, and I read quite a bit of it, but I just didn't get back to it. I guess I got busy with stuff, and I still have it. But
Maybe we could start working together on working through some of those books. When I first started studying Seth, I couldn't study it. It was so over my head. But I joined a group, and
it's
that's
a
how I
difficult
learned.
read.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's heady stuff. But reading it with people, studying it together, that's where it really gets rich.
Absolutely, and I think we can kind of put perspective on things and help each other to understand what we're reading.
Yes.
And that's the big thing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like you can talk to just anyone about this stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And luckily, I do have a close friend of mine that I invited to the group, Kim Nixon. I don't know if she was able to get on or not, but she and I, we're both into this stuff, and she's much more advanced than I am. But
Bring everybody.
Francis, we can't thank you enough. There was a time, and I'm like, oh my God, all these people that were asking to join. I'm like, Francis invited them. Francis invited them. Francis. They all said yes.
25,
Yeah.
30 people you invited
Well,
to join.
Thank you.
I've got quite a few contacts, and I just tried to invite the ones that I thought would be interested in this stuff. So
It worked. Please, everybody, take heed to
Yeah.
that. Invite your friends that are interested.
well,
Yes.
So
I'm
what we're-
super glad that I could help. So I
Thank
love
you.
Thank
helping
you.
people, and this is why I'm getting into real estate. So with that being said, if anyone knows anyone looking to buy or sell, whether you're in Raleigh or in Timbuktu, it doesn't matter. Let me know. I can hook you up with somebody.
Okay.
Mr. Seth, real estate agent.
I love
And
helping
so
people.
I'll go on to explain something Kate was saying is like signing up. We have all of you, I think, are part of the Facebook group. Long title now, Seth Discussion Group at the Seth House. So we want to invite more people into that. So there's a feature there where you can say invite your friends, bring them all over so they can find out more about Seth and the house. Really get these groups going. We want to also invite other people who would like to host an online Seth group. We will figure out a way to let you use our account, and you can teach us, Seth Figs, Nature Personality, and then everyone can come to your living room, and you can have your own technical difficulties. Lots of fun
This
here.
technology is way over my head. I was just playing around with my real estate pages manager thing, and I just get so upset and irritated with it. But
Well, practice makes perfect, I guess. But
yeah,
now let's see. So we've heard from Kate, Oshara, Lorna, and Francis. Is there anybody else who'd like to jump in and say, hee, it's me?
Hey, it's me.
Woo, there you
All
are.
right.
I should probably go next. I'm going to have to check out for a few minutes.
Okay.
Sometime in the next half hour or so, probably. Anyway, I'm Ned, and I bought Seth Speaks on December 8th of 1974
Wow.
and fell desperately in love. Matter of fact, I was somewhere in the first 20 pages or so. I had no idea what I had in my hands. And about somewhere around page 20 or 25, I read a sentence that just went through me like a lightning bolt. And I cried like a baby for about 20 minutes. before I could start reading again. I knew that all the questions that I had been grappling with all my life, I was holding the answer in my hands, even though I hadn't read it yet. And it was true. And then, of course, back in the 70s, as some of you probably know, you had to wait for the next book to be published. And I had to wait until June of 75 for Nature, Personal Reality to come out, during which time I read the Seth material and I forget what they call it now, but it was how to
develop your ESP.
Your ESP, yeah. I read that, and that was all there was, you know. Anyway, so a year and a half later, I wrote my first book, and the first 25 pages was all about Seth applied to astrology. I came up with a way of defining astrology that wasn't contrary to Seth. And so I wrote a book about it. In fact, I taught classes in a local college for a couple of years. And so that's my background. And of course, I read everything I get my hands on since, almost everything. Love Jane's fiction, love Oversoul, etc. And I've had at various times collections of people that were close friends that were into Seth, and sometimes nobody. It's been kind of strange. So it's really a treat for me to be in this kind of a situation where you have so many people that I've never met before, and we all speak the same language. And we, for example, we made a comment earlier about the high water mark from the flood, and everybody here knows exactly what I was talking about without me telling it out at all. You know. And I talked earlier, Russ and I were talking about the flood in Elmira and comparing that to the coronavirus in terms of the mass events aspect of it. And everybody knows what that's about. I can't tell you what a treat that is for me. You know, instead of having to over-explain it to people that really don't get it anyway, as opposed to just dropping a word and being plugged into the whole thing without saying another word. It's amazing. It's wonderful. And I want to thank you. I want to thank Oshara and Kate for doing this. It needed doing really badly, and you guys stepped up to the plate and did it. So
thank you, Ned.
Yeah.
Ned, where are you from?
Portland, Oregon.
I'm actually taking this down.
I'm making notes too,
Yeah.
so I can remember people's names
Yeah.
and where they are and stuff, and I'll be, contacted the CIA to do background tests on everyone.
Ashara,
Yes, yeah.
I just wanted, I didn't want to
Regina.
take up a lot of time, but I have to reiterate what Ed just said, that I visited that house in 1999 at one of the conferences in Elmira.
Yeah.
Thrill of my life just to walk down the driveway and look up and see where Jane and Rob had done their work. And to think now that you're in that house, that I have the chance. I'm about 3 hours directly east of you in upstate New York. And it means that I can, one of these days, take a long drive and actually walk into the house.
Yes, you can.
And this is the work you're doing to make this so for us is just so wonderful. I've been aware of the Seth material since 1982. It's one of the most profound influences in my life. And to think that you have initiated and carried through what I think is a phenomenal project, I just want to say thank you so much. And I know we all feel the same way. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
It's our
To add
pleasure.
to that acknowledgement, this is the most important thing to do with Seth, I think, since Yale decided to give the Seth Works a home forever.
Well, because of
was-
it's stories like this is why we did it. There was a woman.
I got to still swooning over what
Oh,
Regina said.
yeah.
I'm just like, wow, I felt that. But
Yeah, there
Thank you.
was a woman that posted on Facebook over 3 years ago, and she said she was afraid to come in. There was a man at the front door that gave her the willies. And we know who that is. He doesn't live here anymore, but he did. And that was the day that I'm like, you know, Oshara, we've talked about this, and I'm like, we can do this. And that was the day that we bought the website and we started work on it. And it was because somebody came here from New York City and stood and took a picture and then put it on Facebook. And I'm like, oh my God, we can do this.
We can let people in. We can.
Yeah.
make
And that's
this
the way it
place
always happens, you
for
know.
everybody.
Just there's that moment of realization. We can do this.
Yeah.
We're going to have to work every day of our life for years, but
Yeah.
we can do this. Yeah. Who'd like to go next? If you'd like.
So
to
you
share.
are in the house now?
This is it. This is it. Yes.
You are in the house now. Who is in the house now from Jane?
Kate and Oshara. It's Claire Marie. So,
and I'm going to prove it to you too. I'll be right back.
Right, Claire. If you look in Oshara's computer and you see that building out that window, that is one of the most famous pictures. And she's going to bring the book to us right now and show it to you.
All these nice photos. Okay. Sorry. All these nice photos in this book, one of them proves that this is the place.
Okay, this is really great. I'm really, I'm really happy to participate, to come in the discussion. Problem is, I was thinking it was earlier in the afternoon, and I thought I missed the meeting, and now I see it's just now, because I'm in Europe, in Germany, and we have not the same time. Here it's 9 in the evening.
And here now it's 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yes, it's for this I thought I missed, and now I was just looking, and I say, oh, it's happening now, and after so I'm not prepared. Sorry.
That's okay. That you don't. There is no preparation. This is beautiful.
I'm really great to see you, because we have the same passion. So.
That's it. There's something that bonds us all together, whether we've met or not, that we're into this information, which is basically, this is the truth. You know, this is the beauty of reality, as Seth described it, is something we share a passion for, you might say. So notice the house behind me out this window. This is where Jane would sit to type. We look at Seth material, open it up to the first picture, and take a look. You can see that that's the same house behind her. The same view behind her, the same house. We got to get 2 bottles. I'm sorry, we forgot to get the 2 bottles. But that house is that house. And
we're going to take you for a tour through the whole apartment. So that as soon as we get these introductions done, that's next on our list.
But first we need to prove to you we really are in the right place. So we're not making this crap up. We really are in the Seth House, and that's the proof. Who wants to go next?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
When you're not actually speaking, we can hit the mute button, and all the background noise that you're hearing will allow the people that are talking to be heard more clearly without the background noise. Then when you want to talk, you press the mute button, unmute button, and shut away.
That's wonderful. That was in the suggestions in the chat window. I put those in there first. So
and thank you for bringing that up. Like I said, we're all in this together. We're creating this experience together here. So we need your advice and insights everywhere. Yes. Anybody want to cash you?
This is my son, Brian. He's the one that introduced me to Seth. I'm forever grateful for doing so.
That's Jay. What's your
Jay Bailey.
Jay Bailey, yes.
Brian, and what are your names?
Jack, J-C-K Bailey, and Brian with a Y.
Brian, we were talking the other day on the Facebook page back and forth. And Mike, I totally remember you. You were so cool. I think you're a genius or something. I love that.
Not at all.
Are you father and son?
Yes, this is my father. May I please have the floor for a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. I found the group. I was on Facebook, and creepy Facebook, you knew enough about me, were like, hey, you might like this Facebook group, the Seth House. I was like, oh, absolutely. So I joined, and that's how I ended up here. Absolutely amazing, and I'm happy to be here right now. I'll go back to how I found Seth, and very quickly, so I was working at a health food store. I walked up to a gentleman. He had a Freemason emblem on, and I was always interested. So I asked him, I was always interested about that. I got to know him more. I went to a meeting at his house about Young Living Oils, and I met some other people there, his friend Ron, and then he mentioned to me about how Seth was a brother of Cain and Abel. Seth ascended, he didn't die. So I was interested in that. So I was like, okay. So one day in a blizzard, I decided to drive to Borders to see if I could find some info on Seth. And I went to the metaphysical section, and I came across Seth's feet. And I was just like, I don't think this is it, but what is this about? And the book absolutely changed my life. I started to read about the pyramids and how they were coordination points all over the earth for earth energy.
Real quick, somebody who has their audio on, I'm hearing some clanking and it kind of hurts. So if you could turn off if you're not talking and you could turn off your thing, that would be great. That way we won't.
You know what? I can mute everybody. Mute all, and I will unmute Jay Bailey.
And then we'll turn it back on again in a second. Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's Brian Bailey and Jack Bailey. Yeah.
So from there, I have been very excited about the Seth books. I have read all 40 books, or 40 plus books. I've owned them all. I have my own collection of notes. On the Facebook page, I have posted links. I have over 3,000 pages of notes from Seth. They're all hosted. I sold the books, but I did keep my notes, and I'm slowly buying some of the books back on Kindle. So I do have all of those. If anybody's interested, please go ahead. I also made an Android app for random Seth quotes. So from there, that's also in the Facebook group. You can download those. But absolutely, I'm very excited about Seth. I do have another story. Well, I don't know. I guess I could wait for that right now. But I have a really quick story. I have a question, and people can unmute to answer. Does anybody remember in all the Seth books where the entity AA was involved?
Okay, am I on? Okay.
Yeah.
One thing, I just want to respond to what you're saying first. It's like you're offering to give us a lot of goodies. And so we'll take you up on that. Maybe we can post something on the Facebook page that you're saying you want to give out there. So if we have things that we can share with each other digitally or otherwise, that's wonderful to share in the wealth of information.
I've already posted the links.
On Facebook?
Yes.
You're quick.
They're already there. I was in a discussion with someone else, but they're already on the group, and we can move it. But I already have the links to my notes. It's a Dropbox link.
Oh, okay. That's the notes that you tried to download, and it gave you an error, but I was able to do it. Yes.
Oh, you got them?
Yes.
Yeah. We got them. It works. It does work. Let me see.
Where are you guys from?
Chicago.
Chicago.
And your father, Jack, did your son get you into this, or were you?
All right, you open that can of worms. I'm kidding. My son 15 years ago kicked me down the rabbit hole when he gave me Secret Teachings from Manly P. Hall.
Okay.
Dad, you should really read this. I read it. I started reading that book, and I like to say I made it through the other side of the rabbit hole by a mouse, the computer. I have not stopped studying since this young man introduced me to that, and Seth has been part of those studies. He did ask the question that I asked, and is Seth the Seth from the Bible, the brother of Cain and Abel? I don't know, but that's my belief. And then Brian also had a question about the origin of AA, and then I'll just step back and listen.
All right, thank you.
So I don't know the answer to that. However, there is a website called FindingSethTalk.com, seth.com. You can put in search words and look for where you can find it in what books.
Everybody make an ad bookmark for that. It's called FindingSeth.com, and it's a search engine for all the Seth books. So if you put in AA in quotation marks, it'll find you every place in all of Seth's books where he said AA.
Mm-hmm. We use it every day.
We really do.
When we have to cite quotes, we have to know where it's coming from. We use it every day.
Yeah. So, like I said, put it on your ad bookmark. It'll blow your Seth research right wide open. And I think AA, I'm gonna guess, he was helping with the table tipping in the early years. So it could have been in definitely early sessions, Seth material, and maybe some of Jane's personal books, where she was talking about her early experiences with psychic phenomena, included table tipping. It was an AA who was communicated through the table.
Brian has his hand up.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, no problem. But no, absolutely. I have read all the books. I don't know where to find that information, but very quickly, I want to share a story about one of the craziest experiences of my life, is because I also found a group on YouTube, the Destiny Universe, and she is a portal, so she could leave her body and another entity can come in and speak. So I was watching some of those videos, but I had one of the craziest moments of my life when the entity, I was watching the video from the entity AA, and he was talking through her, but at the same time, I came across AA in the Seth books, and he had an influence on Jade Roberts, and he was floating furniture around in the room, and that they're like 30, 40 years apart, and that he was talking through her, and he also was influencing and finish the story.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
good.
I muted that noise.
Thank you.
So Jack and
Brian,
go for it.
Absolutely. I pretty much finished my story. I thought it was very crazy. And if anybody would like to contact me, and I would love to share my notes more, and I love just the chance to be able to talk about Seth and everything else I've learned with everyone else.
Brian, there might be a way that you can upload your information right to documents in the group that we have.
I have a suggestion along these lines.
Okay, Ned.
I can't believe it took me this long to remember it. I happen to own spaciouspresent.com, and I have for 20 years. And it used to be my primary website, but I've switched over to a new one, Ned's Words. And so Spacious Present is just sitting there, and I've been wanting to do something with it again, but nothing really spoke to me. And what's going on for me right now is that it might be a good place to put stuff that's downloadable, like his apps and whatnot, and who knows what else.
Thank you. Thank you. That is very gracious.
An idea is born. You know, it could be an amazing collective, to have a collective space.
Yeah, and what could be better than Spacious Present,
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't believe it when that was available, even back in 2000 when I got it. I thought there must be a mistake here. Somebody screwed up, but there it is, and it's been there ever since.
Thank you.
Timing is everything.
So anyway, if anyone wants to explore that with me, just let me know.
Sounds good.
And who knows what could happen once we put our energies together for
No kidding.
reality creation.
I don't know how we're going to top what you guys did, but it's worth giving it a try.
We're all creating this together.
Yeah.
Her and I just started it. We did the legalities. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And
everything starts with something,
Yeah. And we're all infinitely creative and co-creative.
And we made it a legal 501c3 so that it will well outlive us, so that it will always be here and always taken care of. If we owned it privately, eventually we would die and it would go to our families, which really don't care. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
way, it will always be handed down to Seth lovers.
Well, even better, it'd be a board of directors, like smart people, smarter than us, hopefully, that can handle all the details of a house, handle all the details of having this be a place that promotes Seth and puts Seth ideas out there. And so we have a bigger vision than just the two of us. It's
If you want to really make that stick, you're going to have to finance it even when you're gone. And I have some experience with this. And what you need to do is to acquire enough principal that you can maintain everything on the income from that principal and have something left over for inflation.
So yeah, we're learning about fundraising.
Yeah, we are.
We're learning, and that is an area that it would be nice to have more of what you call principle.
Right.
So,
And we are operating 100% on donations. And this is why, you know, I'm trying to throw in, you know, what my business already has, you know, like Zoom. We can do that.
Well, if you came up with, what you need to do is come up with a number of what it's going to take to not only to maintain what's already going, but to have some growth. Okay, new ideas, even if you don't know what they are yet. And then
we'll never run out of ideas. And,
so let's just pick a number, $100,000 a year. Okay, then you need to come up with enough principal that the income off it would be $100,000 a year.
So yeah,
And I wouldn't be surprised if you could do that with Kickstarter.
We have done some crowdfunding things like GoFundMe, and we've made some money. But again, if anyone out there knows how to do the fundraising thing, please contact us. Call us. Move in with us. We'll wash your car. If you know how to do fundraising, wonderful. All we've got is saying, please give us money. And there's like no finesse about that seems to be able to. But again, though, from the kindness of so many Sethies, we are getting donations. You know,
do you know how many millions of Sethis there are on this planet?
Yes.
The only trick is to know.
Well,
I feel them when I sleep at night.
We're holding our heads above water, so that's
Yeah.
a good thing. We're here for a while.
You got to start where you are.
And so we want to, you know, fundraising. Yes, thanks. I guess part of it is too is like being that shy about asking for money. Like you know, you started to say that, and I started to get a little, ugh. But it's like we have to do that, you know. And so we put the notes on the website, PayPal, please donate, and lo and behold, people actually do.
Yep.
And that's what is fueling this.
It is
that people are donating.
And Facebook is the best place to donate because they don't take a cut. But if you do it through PayPal or GoFundMe, they take it's more than 2%.
But if you
they
go
take their
to
cut.
our
The Facebook page and donate on there, or you set up a fundraiser through your friends, they give us 100% of the money. It's amazing.
Okay, so let's
I'd be very happy to spearhead that approach. I don't know all the answers, but I know enough of them to give it a good head start.
We'll talk.
Yeah, knowing the questions is the first.
Let's let it go at that right now.
Yep, we'll talk, Ned.
Thank you. Thank you for that. What next? Who next?
Yeah, who next?
We'll have to read your minds if you don't talk.
How about me?
I don't like what we say. Who's that?
It's Peter.
Peter. Hi, Peter.
Hello. So I'm in London, in the UK, and I got a strange story. I was reading a book this morning, and it was a book written. The guy was describing a trip he took in 1940, driving from New York through to Wisconsin. He was going to see Frank Lloyd Wright's place at Taliesin.
Yeah,
right. And he was documenting all the towns he went through in New York. And he went through Elmira and mentioned that Mark Twain used to have a summer house there.
Yes. Mark Twain, by the way, is buried here. There's a whole small family plot of the Twains and the Langdons, and you can visit Mark Twain's grave about a mile or two from here. 2 miles?
Okay.
It's walkable.
It's walkable, actually. Yeah.
So I didn't know this. I thought Elmira, that's Jane Roberts, where Jane Roberts was.
Yeah.
So I Googled Jane Roberts, Elmira, and this meeting came up.
Oh.
And that's why I'm here.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Strange, huh?
Oh my gosh. One
But
thing leads to another.
yeah, I've been reading Seth books, I guess, some in the 70s, and then I got involved with all kinds of other stuff. And I found a Seth book about, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago. And I was amazed at how much the books had affected my life. Just had affected basic ideas I had about the approach to life and what I thought was going on. And so, yes, I've been carefully rereading all the books ever since. That's me.
Peter Crockett.
Peter Crockett.
Thank you for
And I run a charity, so I do know quite a lot about fundraising.
Ooh, all right, we'll talk.
Be your best
Yeah.
friend.
I don't know how I can help you guys in the United States, but it seems to me like you need to get a much bigger profile about what you're doing. And Facebook is a good place to do that. And there's got to be some rich people who've been touched by Seth.
Yeah.
You need to reach them.
Good point. Taken.
Yeah.
Technical things on the screen.
Oh, what's happening?
Okay. Again, thank you, Peter. Thank you for putting your energy in here. Who would like to speak next? And we have Gabriel. Hold on. Is our mic on? Gabriel.
1 minute. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you for the invitation. For me, well, I live in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and my mother language is Spanish. Sorry, my English is not.
You're fabulous.
Okay, thank you. And well, I met Seth in 1987, end of 1987. I was studying Tibetan Buddhism in Kathmandu in a kind of synchronicity magic, like many Seth readers were connected with Seth, appear in my life. And well, really, as Peter said, changed completely my life and changed my way to see spirituality. And I am working in this moment in a daily basis with side time, dream work, belief work, alter sleep schedule. I am trying to do my work in Setian terms. And also I am a psychological counselor, and I am applying a Setian approach in my work. I study the person-centered approach, the Carl Rogers techniques. But studying Seth, I applied completely, and in this moment, I saw amazing results in patients and people that I am working with, no? And I saw in my life and in my work the impact of this material. For me, is the one, and well, is one of or the most important aspect of my life, because my perception changed completely, no? And well, that's my my 2 cents here. No?
I love your story, Gabriel.
Thank you.
And that the thing is, it affected you, but you're giving it to others in your work. And
yeah, and the examples are infinite. That really, well, Set work not just apply the psychological, psychic, and spiritual way to change lives. And when you apply it with people, for example, I have a case of a patient with insomnia, and applying altered sleep schedule, the set speaks techniques that are in that book, chapter 8, I think that well, she had not any problem at all, and she's now sleeping 9 to 11 hours per day. And I am telling her, well, but you have to to, to sleep in blocks, and that is so much. My teacher said that is not the, please stop. And she was saying, well, for decades I couldn't sleep in a good way, and now that I can sleep 11 hours, please let me do at least, well, things like that, no? It's a magical approach to life, they said, Janwa.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I like what you're saying too, how you're practicing the things that he recommended. And that's part of it too, as we practice it, we see the results. And what you're saying too about whenever I run into people who says, oh, I have insomnia, my problem is I wake up after I only sleep 3 hours. I'm like, it's not a problem. And then I explain to them the Seth's ideas about breaking up the sleep thing and telling them, you're already way ahead. You're doing a natural sleep thing. Keep doing it. Don't feel, that's part of it. We feel like, oh, I only slept 2.5 hours. I must be doing something wrong. It's like, no, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
So I think that getting out there more, the people who live on 3 naps a day are really the ones who are way ahead of the pack as far as, he was recommending that so that we can be in that other dimension a little more often. And we don't sleep so deep that maybe we forget some of the good stuff that's happening when our consciousness is free to fly in other dimensions. So there's so much benefit to breaking up those sleeps. And it is not one big blog, but that's more Seth stuff to read and to talk about. So just touching on that because you brought it up. But again, I appreciate what you're doing, Gabriel, in your work as you talk to people, to be informed by Seth's stuff and pass it along.
Yeah. Well, I discovered that most of the problems that we have is because of the attachment with the official line of consciousness, and the lack of worth, all the Darwinian way to see life. And when you begin to apply the material perspective change, and well, life is more mental than material, no? Like Seth says, and all is about perception in a way. Yeah. Thank you, and thank you. I would love to see the house because I was not in Elmira, and this is my opportunity with coronavirus to see a little. I do not know when I will fly there, no, with all this situation.
Well, we'll be here. And another thing, as you're saying that, we should say we were planning having in May a birthday party for Jane. We did this last year. A year ago, we had a birthday party for Jane. She would have been 90 physical years. And so, of course, her birthday's May 8th. And so we are planning to celebrate that, however the government lets us. But I think we can sneakingly get together anyway and have positive beliefs that we'll just have a great time if we do get together here. So the last event we had last year was just one day, but we're looking at making it a longer day, multi-day date. So we're saying somewhere May 7/11, 7 to 11, somewhere in there, where we'll see how it co-creates together to invite people to be here. And we realize some people might want to Skype in, or Zoom, or YouTube, but we want to get physical bodies here. And we'll see how it all manifests. But we don't want to put that out there. We also want to do something to celebrate Rob's birthday, which is June 20th. And we did the same thing last year. Last year, Rob turned 100. And so we want to do something again June 20th to honor Rob as well. And those are, coincidentally, it was so thoughtful of Jane and Rob to be born when the weather is fantastic, and then Elmira. So just to keep watching out for announcements or website stuff to see what we end up really being able to do. And we'd love to see all these Sethy hearts that can make it out here.
Well, I can tell another secret, and that's, I know, and that's if this virus thing all quiets down, Mr. Card, which owns Jane's rocking chair and some of the most iconic pictures, is planning on bringing his collection up here again. So it will be up here from Jane's birthday through Rob's birthday, if all goes as planned. So last year we got to sit in Jane's chair, and everybody that showed up got their picture taken in the chair with the mirror in the background. And that's what I chose to put on the Facebook page. Oh, Shara's going to show you the mirror now.
This mirror was here when Jane and Rob lived here.
Yeah.
And it's way old. It could be like the turn of the last century. It's way old, but this
it's
is
original.
the mirror that they looked in. And there are actually 3 mirrors in this house that were original to when they lived here. And I'll tell you, you're standing there looking in a mirror, knowing that Jane and Rob and Seth looked in these mirrors, and you pause.
Mm-hmm.
It does hit home. I'm going to try to close it a little more. Here we go. So you see.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so now you're seeing more of the living room. So
Oh.
Jane used to sit over there where that couch is.
We will do the tour. We'll do the tour after we can hear from
Amazing.
everybody. And we love the tour.
And we love the stories. We do. We love how Seth came to each person's life and how through that we've all come together. And it's beautiful.
And that's the magic of Seth, is the personal stories, because that's what he was here to do, to help each human individual and the collective get our shit together. and to go beyond any limitations and to know who we really are, what we're really connected with. And this is breathtaking, what Seth gave us right here in this room. Oh my God. But so I'm noticing it's 5 o'clock, and we'll dance all night. We'll stay as long as we want. But we want to hear from everybody, and we will do a tour. Kate, you were saying?
No, I'm just looking at the list of people that still haven't spoken up.
She's got the accountant mind too.
I
so
do.
She's got numbers going on.
Oh yeah, I do all the numbers.
She does the numbers.
I'm the geeky tech.
Thank you.
Cheryl, you're up, I think.
Yeah, and I apologize. I didn't, if you heard the dinging of the Skype, my nuclear family, my husband and my daughters, were in 4 different places actually. 2 of us in Bristol, Virginia. I'm at my small house, not at my daughter's house, who has my 2 grandkids, that it has been decided by all that is that I have to be a super grandma because they're both home, and I won't let my granddaughter, who's 2 years old, go to daycare. I told my daughter over my dead body. And my oldest one,
which would probably give a really bad childhood memory if you did that.
well, it's the virus. I mean,
okay.
It's like I said to her, I don't care, because she said I still might have to pay, and I said I don't care. I want to keep my grandchildren safe. So I'm down here in Bristol, Virginia. It's with the OL by the Bristol Speedway. If you're a guy, you seem to know that. If you're a woman, you say I don't have a clue.
Okay.
And my oldest daughter and my husband are still in Fairport, New York, which is outside of Rochester, New York. And I have my youngest daughter's in Philadelphia. So we do a family Skype, and it depends on when the grandkids are sleeping or whatnot. So I didn't expect them to ring in, but they did.
No problem.
No, it's all okay.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I think I started reading Seth in, I've got to say, the late 70s. And I lived in Whitney Point, New York, when Hurricane, was it Agnes?
Yep.
When that flooded Elmira, also flooded Whitney Point, New York, and Glen Aubrey, New York. And I remember we lived on a farm, and we had a Nanticoke Creek behind us, and it flooded our ball field. And I remember my brothers getting our rowboat out and rowing around the baseball field because it was flooded.
That was 1972, I think July.
72, June.
And it
Yeah.
just, the whole area was a lake with buildings sticking out.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate it got to our farmhouse, but didn't flood it. So, but the,
We're here for
yeah,
it.
any waterways overflowed their banks.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then I kind of went, I'm a scientist, I have a PhD in physics. So whenever I read Seth and Seth starts to get into quantum mechanics and whatnot, I kind of take my notes and look at them and think about them and think how what we know about quantum mechanics is consistent with what Seth is saying.
Fantastic.
And actually that Seth, and I think Seth was no surprise to me. I think when I was young, I think I've forgotten. I spent a lot of time by myself on our 200, 300 acre farm. And I think I had points where I was in a larger existence and was taught. I just don't remember it, because when I read them, I go, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But when I went into science, see, science, everybody sort of does, well, the scientists don't know and don't understand. Well, they do. They understand to the limits of our physical world. And then Seth teaches beyond that. And then we just have to get that idea that our physical world is our physical world. And there are rules and laws kind of based on our mass beliefs. And some of them, it's interesting, you get different groups and sects, S-E-C-T, sects of people based on their beliefs. So I always had a belief, and I said this at one point when I was working with a company that had a major problem. If something didn't work out, like I said, borderline, everything's going to go down the tubes, and the company may go out of business. And I had one of the people say, is this possible? Something about what we were doing. And I remember looking at him and saying, anything is possible. And that totally, you should have seen the look of relief on his head. I said, yeah, we're going to do this. And I kind of always sort of knew, in different ways, we craft our own pathway in life. Not to the level that I never thought that, could just snap your fingers and make it happen. But I kind of believe to that level. And I think the people that believe that way believe in all the, the safe world, everything's good, all that is. And even if you're sort of, you weren't aware of it, when you get taught it, you end up in a more expansive existence, I'm going to say it. So Seth tells you it's more than just what you thought it was, or your parents taught you, or your religion taught you. So once you open your mind to it, I think it's like, oh, okay. So that's where I am and where I'm coming from. I'm retired, and get more time to think about these things now. When I was working and raising kids, it was like, that's all I could do. So that's me.
Love your voice, Cheryl. Love your input. You're very, we've met up with you a few other times with Skype and Facebook, and many thanks for the kind things you say about us on Facebook, and many thanks for the insights you've always been so freely giving from your background and your studies and your good heart. So just thanking you. I'm so glad.
Well, I have to stay there. So what's interesting is I'm scratching my head. I had to scratch my head about some of the stuff that's going on. And sometimes when there seems to be not goodwill toward you two. And I have to tell you, it's come, and just, my gut tells me this, and I, reflect on it. So I have to remember the difference between being jealous and being envious. So if someone has what you don't have, you're envious. If you have something and you think someone's going to try to steal it, you're jealous. So I really do believe there's some envy in regard to this. And on occasion, we all get that, right? Somebody has something we want, we wish we'd have, and how do we react to it? Well, the ego kind of goes, I'll twist it, and make it a negative versus, the higher self going, oh, I should be happy for what they have, and I should be happy for what I have. So I do see some of that going on when things go astray in some of the self discussion groups. It really is envy, or jealousy if someone thinks they own something and someone else is trying to take it.
And we just want to invite everybody to enjoy this place and to enrich each other's lives together. So we don't want to dwell on that, but yes, to say like it's been very strange to hear some voices actually being negative towards us and making stuff up that's not true. And we just have to, that's been a learning experience for us too. Just stay the course, keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
Try to answer people's questions and say, and we're just going to keep doing the best work we know how, even if there might be some people out there like, and who would think that anybody would ever say something negative on Facebook or social networking about anything? But by golly, it happens. So we just have to not take it personally.
Yeah, and
it's more about them. It's not because it is the things people say. It's about them, and we know we're doing the best we can, and we're going to just keep. We love Seth, and that's not going away.
Right, and I remind myself, like I said, we all have a little bit of that envy and jealousy on occasion. I'll say to myself, smack that part of myself. Who's doing the heavy lifting? Who's making what's happening there? It's Kate and Oshara. It's not me. It's not someone else. And you should be given all the blessings and hopes of success by everyone, just like everyone would want your blessings for hope and success. So, and another thing I've been taught from I took philosophy of science, which started back with the first, the Depression in the 20s. So one of the main points.
Wait, philosophy of science, do you mean like Ernest Holmes' religious science?
No, it's actually, I'll send you a link. It started out with trying to understand why the Great Depression happened. And it started in the UK and right around the time of the Great Depression. And it's continued on, and I belonged in a group in Rochester for about a year and a half. Okay. So I have to look at it. It was actually economic philosophy, but at any rate, one of the main points is there is enough. So we end up in these problems when we think there's not enough, and we start hoarding and fighting. And what this philosophy teaches, what is the truth, there's more than enough for everybody. Mm-hmm. If we just share what we have, everybody will have what they need and more.
Yes.
And it's man that starts worrying, well, I'm worried about having too much, so I obtain 10 to 100 times as much as I need.
So that would equate to toilet paper not being on the shelves.
Yes. Of all things.
I know. People are covering their butts.
Thank you again for more insights into this. Should we who else would like to share maybe on that happy note about toilet paper and
it's real. It's like
human psychology. When you think, what's the most important thing in the world?
Toilet paper.
Yeah. What's a delightful collective consciousness. We just have to laugh and love ourselves. But I think, again, coming back to Seth's philosophy, though, interesting. What you're saying, just something about we don't have to live in fear. We can, and we can say it's a safe universe and all these other things. But there's something, the most reassuring philosophy and life-affirming philosophy is what Seth has put forth.
Yep.
And so I said it.
All right. Well, I think Sean wants to talk.
Sure.
Sure. I don't know what to say. Yes. I've been listening to Tim Hart every day.
We love him.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, Tim Hart has a Facebook page where he has read most of the Seth books.
YouTube.
Sorry.
Yes, on YouTube.
A YouTube page. If you want to hear Seth beautifully read for free, Tim Hart on YouTube, and that's H-A-R-T. Tim, H-A-R-T, Tim Hart on YouTube. Beautifully read.
Yes.
He's a sweetheart of a guy. So I just had to interrupt you because I'm so freaking rude.
Where are you from, Sean?
I'm from Los Angeles, California.
LA.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Thank you. I've been listening to Tim Hart pretty much every day. Whenever I have to get in my car and go anywhere, I turn him on and listen to him. And he's reading I think it's the Dreams Consciousness.
Dreams, Evolution, and Value
Dreams.
Fulfillment?
No, not that one. It's
Oh, it's the one Jane wrote. Projection
Yeah.
Consciousness?
Yes,
That's
yes.
it.
And I love this book because it's so challenging. Some of the concepts just stretch my brain to the point of where I just explode. But it's a hard read for me, partly because of that, and because of the Dr. In-stream material that's kind of dispersed throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little
Gotta skip that. We were just talking on Facebook last night about in-stream makes us nuts. He interrupts with, but
it's
there's beautiful stuff in there. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's a lot there. And I read the book. I think I got the book. Actually, I have the receipt inside of the book flap. And I bought the book maybe 15, 20 years ago. And I read it at that time and I put it aside. But because Tim Hart has been reading it on Facebook, on
YouTube.
On YouTube, I have a new interest in it. But at the time when I first read it, it was so challenging. But the concepts in the book, they're nothing new. If you're familiar with the material. I think in chapter 1 of the book, he talks about, he goes into a little bit more detail with the universe is idea construction. And I didn't really remember the detail from that when I first read the book. And so hearing it now, it's almost like hearing it again for the first time. And I just love it. I play it back, I'll let him talk, and then I'll rewind it and just try to absorb the material because it's so fascinating. And that's where I am right now in the Seth material.
Far out. Thank you, Sean from LA, for sharing and being here. It means
You're welcome. It's good to see everyone. It's good to see everyone.
Yeah. I'd say the same to you, but
we can't see you.
We can't see you. It's good to hear from you, though. It's good to hear from you.
I just washed my hair, so I have 2 long ponytails, and I don't have my makeup on. I haven't drawn on my face so far.
Totally fine. We all. You're gorgeous, baby. You're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Kate, do you want to call in someone like a school teacher?
Do I have to call on somebody? I don't know who.
Or who wants to come forward?
Yeah, who wants to come forward? Yeah, that's better.
Volunteers.
Hi, I'm Dolan.
Dolan! Woo!
Hi.
Hi, I'm from Moncton, New Brunswick in Canada.
Yay, Canada.
First of all, I want to thank you guys, Kate and Oshara, for doing what you did. It's amazing.
It's our pleasure. We love this.
And nice to meet you all. All the pictures the pictures that I see in front of me here. And the first time I read, I was introduced to Seth was I read the Seth Speaks.
Yeah.
In '87, and the information in there just fit like a glove. I was so amazed. That same summer, I drove to Elmira to take a picture of the house.
Wow.
Ooh.
And then, yes. And then after that, my goal also was going to Chicago because it was, it's like a point of energy in Chicago. So I just wanted to see if I could feel anything. But anyway, I was young at the time. Now I'm retired. I used to work for CBC, Radio Canada. And now I'm retired, and I'm a bus driver, a school bus driver. So I have much more time in my hands. So here I am. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you, and I hope we get to meet you in person here at the Seth House soon.
Yes, hopefully, if the coronavirus lets me, maybe in August.
Beautiful. We'll be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have nice people here.
I love this. Yeah. So let's see. Who else is on that hasn't spoken? How about Miglina?
Or anyone else who's.
Well, hold on. I'm going to unmute.
Oh, that helps a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they can unmute themselves too, but no, I can't unmute Miglina. So
okay, and that's
we'll
fine.
move on.
We respect your privacy. You're in the what's called the Witness Protection Program.
Something like that.
Yeah, well,
How about BJ?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Who?
Oh, this is
Milena.
Milena.
Okay, woohoo! Where are you
Hi.
from?
Well, I am originally from Bulgaria. Currently living in Canada, Quebec.
Great.
And I'm quite new to Seth. I met Seth probably 4 years ago, and of course, very very strangely, because I was fascinated by tarot cards, and I started to study them few years ago, and I was fascinated by channeling, and then I started to research more about channeling, and I met Bashar, who is channeled by Dario Anka, and then I met Jane Roberts.
Oh.
Through Google. Yes, nobody introduced me to Seth. I had to find him myself for some reason, and I stuck with Seth forever.
Yeah.
I couldn't move to anyone else. And of course, the first thing I read was ESP Power.
Yeah, her first book, yeah, on this topic, yeah.
Yeah, all the stuff about channeling and things, and which fascinates me. And yeah, it's absolutely the best material I ever read. I read also The Nature of Personal Reality. That's my favorite book. That's my favorite book. But yeah, Seth, it's amazing. I just can't find anyone who can exceed his wisdom.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I started reading Seth when I was 21, and I have studied everything. But I keep coming back to Seth, and now basically Seth is all I read. And I'm 60 now, and it's like he just keeps being more true the more you read him. So, yeah.
Yes.
I do hear other things and read other things and channels and stuff, but Seth Talk. Sorry, I think I interrupted. Go ahead, Magdalena.
Oh, but from the channeling, I learned through Seth so many things about life, about perception, about everything. I didn't expect any of it. I was just researching about channeling, how I can channel, better my tarot cards. And it led me to Seth, the best teacher ever.
Yeah, I agree. Just how you said it. Not just the best channeling ever, but the best teaching. He really loved us.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm fascinated by, because Jane Roberts also had psychic abilities, and she predicted and she read people too. Yeah, it fascinates me. The time traveling, because when I was a child, I had experienced this kind of things, just jumping ahead in the future, experience events, and then go back in the present. I have no clue how this happened and why, and I thought it's normal, and that's where why well, from then it's still with me, this fascination about channeling, time traveling, and all this stuff, magical stuff.
And he says the magical stuff is real and more than we can imagine. And we are capable of, not only capable, we do. And in this timeless reality, there's parts of us doing things that would surely amaze the heck out of the being that we think we are now. But he's always encouraging us. There's no limit to consciousness. So we can and we are doing these things, and we can be more. Just gotta love reality, and it offers everything.
Yes, and I'm new to your group too, because I joined your group like few days ago, and it's absolutely amazing that you guys doing this meeting, and I thank you so much. And hi to everyone here who is participating. It's just it's so cool to meet so many people who love the same, the same stuff, and Seth and all these kind of things.
So cool. Thank you for saying that, and thank you for chiming in and sharing your experience, your insights there.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I agree completely. It's so cool to meet all of us.
Yes. Cool people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I
No,
think
that's my story.
that's
Thank
fine.
you.
We love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
And I think, mathematically speaking, not to step on Kate's math toes, I think we have about 3 people left. You need to share, or 2?
I think 4.
Okay.
Maybe. And that's if
She's
they're
the
still.
math person.
That's if they're still here. People have been jumping on and off too. So who I show is left is Elena, Titan, BJ, and Mike. Who wants to jump on? Sean.
Oh, did I unmute myself? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, not Sean. Sorry.
Say your names so we know which one.
Hello?
Hello. Is that Elena?
Hold on.
Oh, you're fine.
My grandchildren are on the other phone.
Okay.
So,
hi, Elena.
Hi, Elena from Chico, California.
I've been there. Yeah.
The great North State of California.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've been into Seth. I had my son's laughing. I just had my son in 1985, and I was in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois at the time, and I went to a psychic for a reading, and I talked to her, and she was doing psychic development classes, and I said, where should I start if I want to really look into this seriously? And she said, you should read the Seth material. And so I said, okay, I'd never heard of that. I picked up The Nature of Personal Reality, and I read 5 years in a row. I mean, nonstop. And I had a bunch of experiences with that material. We had a Seth non-conference. We didn't call it a conference. It was the non-conference in New York State. I lived in Jersey at the time. And I just, yeah. We had a non-conference, and we got in within the first, I'd say, hour of us all parking our cars and meeting in a common room. There was such a feeling of we knew each other. And so like within literally 30 minutes, somebody said, I feel like I know you all. Mm-hmm. And we all felt that way. And I never saw them again thereafter. But it was an incredible, wonderful feeling, and a great weekend of just talking and sharing. And I continued reading, and then it seemed like people around me weren't reading the Seth material. So I didn't have any community, and I would just read on my own. And the book that changed my life was The Nature of Personal Reality. Mm-hmm. I connected immediately with the words. I knew for me, it rang with a truth. It was, yeah, this is the truth. Okay, that's the truth. And then I just felt comfortable. And like I said, nonstop reading for 5 years. I tried to get into Seth group here, but nobody was around that would do it. And even my close friends who are into psychic stuff, they weren't into it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like the mechanics of the world.
Yeah.
The universe, or some of the universe. I'm sure it's bigger than that. But anyway, it made a difference in my life. It probably helped wake me up. I'm work in California State University as a staff, not a faculty. And I haven't talked Seth in years, except I've been on Facebook and I'm connected that way. And so somebody invited me, and I'm here. That's it.
Thank you, somebody.
And that's an awesome story too. And what you're talking about too, that feeling of meeting others in a conference. I relate. I mean, there was the Colorado conference and other conferences, that feeling of family, or you know each other. When you meet other Sethies, it's like there's that click. It's like, wait, we're on this wavelength, and we kind of know something. Yeah. Just acknowledging what you're saying and everything you said there. So you started. When did you say you started?
1986, because my son was born in 85, and I know he was about a year old when I met this woman. And her and I never talked about the Seth material. I went into the psychic development class, and I kind of did extraordinarily well for that thing. I kind of surprised myself and everybody in the room. And I started thinking after I was reading the Seth stuff that, you know, I didn't know who I was. And with Seth material, I kind of said, oh, this is who I am, and it's okay.
Hey. Thank you. What's the story? Let me experience. Look what you've done with, you know, nature of personal writing. Sentence. Reading nature of personal reality over and over again for 5 years sounds like a really good life. And I think a lot of us just keep reading the stuff. You can poke into any book, and it'll take you right there.
And a quick story my son's listening to, he probably hasn't heard this. He was running around a laundromat we lived in Massachusetts for about 5 minutes. And I was in a laundromat after just reading some of the Seth material in the nature book. And I said to myself, if I was in the shower and before I got to the laundromat, and I said, if this is true, I want to sign this as A-OK. And I said, it has to be A-OK. And the water's coming around me, and I'm thinking, okay. I get dressed, get my son dressed. We go to the laundromat. You know how those laundromats have the heavy washers, and they're in a cement encasement at the bottom. And he's running around cute as a button. And then I step on the encasement just to peek over at him. And there I see on the top of the dishwasher one of those sweethearts, you know, those little hearts with a message on it.
Oh yeah, Valentine hearts.
Yep. And sure enough, I stopped and I just shook my head and went, it's going to say A-OK. And I picked it up, and sure enough, it said A-OK. Within the same day. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is.
You picked it up. Oh.
Yeah. So
that's a sweet story. Yeah.
It is. No pun intended.
Right to the heart. Yeah. I love it. Oh.
All right, that's it for me.
All right, thank you.
Rock
Well, I heard from Mike. He cannot talk. So I asked him where he was from. He didn't tell him. Oh, yeah, he's from Philly. But he has a message for Ned. He'd like to talk to you about the marketing. He knows just enough to be dangerous. And I presume you two know what that means.
Well, I guess maybe we're twice as dangerous because that's about how much I know.
All right. So you two need to connect. So thank you, Mike.
I'll tell you what, I'll post my email address on the chat line.
You know more than we do. Yeah.
Okay, that works.
You know about that, I guess.
And I'm guessing most of us can friend each other right from the group.
The Facebook group?
Yes.
The Seth discussion group
at the Seth House.
Seth Heart House. I know where I got that. There was a heart.
Just ignore her.
Yeah, sometimes you have to. I do too. Yeah, have to ignore me.
All right, so there's Ned's email. Great.
And I'd love to hear from every single one of you. I mean,
all right.
We need to create a Seth address book for.
I can work on that. I have everybody's name down here, so I will try to figure this all out.
I'm basically a fairly private person, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm an open door.
Yeah.
no rent-a-cop, check an ID, nothing. Just
You say Seth, you're in. Yeah. Thanks,
all these stories
Mike.
about people meeting Seth.
And
wrote.
interesting how they say they met Seth. That's
Yeah.
an interesting way of saying
Well,
that. Yeah.
it's funny
By the
because
way,
I wrote my entire story, starting, including the prologue that led me there, and I called it Meeting Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that real hard. I thought, that sounds kind of strange. And I tried like hell to figure out another way to say it that felt better, and I couldn't find one, so I left it that way.
I like the sound of it. It's just, it's definitely a personal experience and a personal relationship in a way. So
I find myself wondering if anybody ever said, boy, I'm sure sorry I found Seth ruined my life.
Can't say if I've ever heard that.
I've never heard that. I've never heard anything close to it.
No,
You're right.
no.
That's so true.
Okay, guys, we've got two more people. We have BJ and Titan. Titan, you look like you're on a walk or a run.
You've been running the whole time. You want to, Titan, if you want to talk. Oh, he unmuted. Hi, Titan.
All right. Hi, Titan.
Actually, go to the BJ first, or the other person first. I mean, I'm going to go get my charger because my phone is down to about 70% charge.
All right.
I'm going to go find a place to sit because I don't want to sit in the other public space over here. So I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay.
We'll talk
Right
to
there.
BJ first then.
Keep on running there. BJ, are you here?
I'm looking in the list. There's
He's
BJ.
muted.
I'm going to unmute. There we go.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hello, BJ.
I'm from Berlin, and I chatted nearly or.
Oop, can we hear you? So you're from Berlin, BJ. Try again. Oh, darn. Let's pray for BJ. Or we can telepathically try to pick up what he's saying. BJ, can you hear us?
You should send some juice to his phone.
BJ, can you hear us? You are unmuted. And well,
I know we're waiting for Titan or BJ. I've done all I can do right now.
Okay.
Oh, it was.
There he is.
It said I got an error message. I said that it's feedback loop and it was muted or something. So I don't know what was you got heard from me or not. Or
All we heard was you were from Berlin.
And then it was but you're back now. So feel free to start
go
over.
ahead and talk.
Oh, okay.
Welcome.
So so I start a different story now. I started with the Seth material like in 1990. I was in some other esoteric stuff, like from the local library, like reincarnational stuff, astrology, and so on. But then I got by accident the Seth material into my hands and got stuck onto it. And yeah, it's I would say my main ideology, that helps me to understand my life in general. And I met some Seth people from the German language speaking Seth Association from Switzerland in 2008.
Is that Seth Freund?
Ja, die Vereinigung der Sethfreunde.
Yeah, Seth Freund, yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on.
They recently published the member magazine, the 100th issue of the multi-dimensional reality, multidimensionale Wirklichkeit, and I got it just this week into my post and I read it, and yeah, I said that it's a bit overwhelming all of a sudden to get into contact with so many Seth people for the same time. I'm not used to it.
We'll try not to be too scary.
This was awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I was like in 2006 or so, I was in this nightly going on. For me, it was nightly at local time. From Barry Gallis, he has also a Seth audio talk and chat going on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and by the way, with the magazine you're talking about, we have a couple of copies here, and we'll show them when we give you the house tour. So what do you, so it was 1990, you read Seth material, and you've been reading more of the information. Have you gone?
yeah, I think I've around 30 printed books, and also in the last years I purchased maybe 10 books or so in English and German translation. Yeah, but it's all in theory. I have nobody to discuss it or to have this the exercises to do and talk, and so it's all in my bag, but I cannot really practice it. It's always on my to-do list. It's yeah.
You know, there is quite a community in Germany, and there's a Facebook page and a website called Seth Freund, Freunde. Check them out. Like as I said, in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany, the German-speaking parts, there is quite a community. You might be able to hook up with people, like I said, in Seth Freund on Facebook and the website. There's a lot of people out there, the Germans, who are spot on, and I'm part German in my heritage too. So I've been to Germany and Switzerland in that area, and I love it. So since 1990, you haven't been able to find people in person to connect with about it?
It's mostly my friends are more into like natural sciences, so they have a completely different worldview. And I attended the Seth meeting in 2008, and there was also what's the guy's name? One of the New York boys was also there.
Rick Stack.
No, also a book author.
Richie Kendall?
Yeah, it was him, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And by accident, like in the mid 2000s, a Chinese guy sent me his tape, and it's on his tape is Kendall Enterprises with I think it was Jane Roberts' interview, and so I met like 13 years later. Oh no, it was 2003, 2000. So I met 5 years later by accident this guy in real life then. I don't know what the situation is in the States or North America with Seth fans, or how the books are going on, and so the situation in Germany. It's just the Switzer duo team which translates all the Seth books into Germany in German, book by book. They're now translating Unknown Reality into German. But
it's still traduced.
That's Claire Marie.
Yes, because sorry, I have a problem with connection now. I don't see anybody, but me too. I'm from Berlin,
cool.
And yes, and the Unknown Reality is still traduced since long time.
Oh, it's it's a woman and a man from Switzerland, the Seth Verlag.
That's it.
Translate
Verlag, Seth Verlag. Yeah, they have a wonderful website and wonderful. They translate the books.
Yes, it's a very good traduction.
Translation. Traduction is translation.
Yes, translation. Yes, this is a problem because I'm not saying something because my English is very bad.
No, we understand you. You're fine.
Yeah, but so I try to understand what everybody's saying, but I arrived to following a little bit.
Maybe you and BJ should get together and talk too. But continue with what you wanted to say.
Yes, I say because I have the book here in my hand now, Die Natur der persönlichen Realität, and I get it because the book now it's difficult to find because there's no more edition, but it's still traduced since long time. It's a very good traduction, and you can ask me. I can give you the reference. Wir könnten das auf Deutsch. Bist du auf Facebook auch?
Ja. Da habe ich auch den Einladungslink vom Seth House zu dieser Konferenz.
Ja, da müssten wir uns darüber mal auf Deutsch, dann kann ich dir meine Informationen weitergeben. Ich bin eigentlich relativ gut informiert darüber. Ich konnte dir was dazu sagen.
Ich sehe nicht
Perhaps we will stop talking German because it's not very nice for the other people. But I just think it was funny. There's another guy from Berlin, like me, and a girl from Berlin, trying to understand something. But for me, it's really great to participate on this discussion with the other people on the very far away from me, but very nice to see to change ideas also, because we are a little bit shocked in the moment in Berlin, because we are life is very much changing in the last days. We have to stay at home. We don't have to go out. We don't have to work. I don't know if it's the same in.
It is like that in the United States. Only essential workers, grocery stores, medical personnel, safety people.
Yes, I think so. It's the same also.
It is.
Here too in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting during this strange time all over the world that we can come together and talk about this actually liberating material, and it is really cool. I think that two people from Germany connect, and I hope you two can talk for the rest of your lives about Seth if you want to, and you met here.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know how everybody's going to get to know each other. Some people have been putting in the chat window their emails. I will collect them all, and I can send out an email to everybody so everybody can share that, or you can just write down, you can share it between each other too.
Contact us. Yeah, contact us directly.
Right. You can.
Anyway, and we can add you to the list.
Can I ask? Is this the first time that you met this?
Yes.
Oh,
this is it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was what I was thinking. I wasn't sure. Okay, this is a very good idea.
Oh, the aliens got her. Darn.
Okay.
Whoa, I don't know who that is.
It's a great special effect, though.
Somebody's coming in.
I think that's somebody new, Brian Bailey.
Okay. And Francis is having to leave.
That's okay. I just unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, better now.
No, she's not. She said something. Hi, Francis.
So it's the first time. Okay. And
it is. So in the past, we have done an in-person group in this room, and we were reading Nature of Personal Reality.
Yeah, by the way, I'll say that we've had an ongoing Seth group. We've had an ongoing Seth group every Sunday for 3 years, over 3.5.
Yeah.
And then, we were told we're not supposed to have meetings anymore in America, so we said,
let's go online.
So you meet physically in this place.
Yes.
In the
meet each
Seth
other.
House. We meet physically in the Seth House every Sunday. Yeah.
Every Sunday.
To study Seth's words right where he spoke them the first time. It blows our minds that we're really here.
Great. Yeah, that's a very, very, very good idea. Really. I would like to come to visit, but I'm very far away
We'll
now.
be here when you're ready. We'll be here.
And we're presuming there's going to be more of these. Definitely next Sunday.
We want to make this a regular thing.
Yeah.
That every week. I want it every day. I'd love to find people who wanted to host Seth study groups, and then every day of the week somebody can be studying one or other. Really focusing on the books. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a very good idea.
Right now, this is kind of introductory talk, get to know each other, but it'd be nice later on if we had okay, let's study the books, read the books together in a different book every day of the week, or social stuff like this.
But even, for instance, if we run into more people that are from Germany, that we can connect you guys together, and you be able to use our account to Zoom each other, and then you can speak your own first language and understand it better.
Yeah, for sure. That's true.
To let people use our accounts.
Absolutely.
So
I was studying that. I read and study all the Z books for 20 years. So really all the books in French first, because I was living in French most time, and in German. So I know that all the books are traduced, and they are good translation. Oh yeah, really. They're very good translation. Others are not good. If you know them well in two languages, you see the difference, because if it's a bad translation, it's very difficult. Even it's difficult to go in, but if it's not a good translation, it's not easy. But they're normally they're very good translation in French and in German. But well, it's another problem. The language it's another.
But Seth is translated into over 20 languages too, which is
for sure.
To his popularity
For sure.
and how much we actually need to get his ideas around the world. And I'm going to start at Kate. Something came down from Brian Bailey a second ago on this. Does that mean anything, or we can take that as messages? I'm sorry I interrupted, but
they wanted to know, how do we download the chat? I don't know how to download the chat, honestly.
We'll find out. All these questions and more we will answer or something.
And
Sean, to everyone, my email address. Okay, Sean's giving us his email address. Bless you.
Okay. And right, I don't know if the chat records or not, so we'll find that out later tonight. So
we are recording this, so we'll put this on YouTube.
But I don't know if the chat is recording. I know.
Oh, you mean on the side? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll find out everything we can.
Yeah, we just don't know the answers.
If you guys want to write us personally, then we'll do something.
The best email to reach us at is info@thesethhouse.com.
info@thesethhouse.com.
Okay.
Write to us. We love hearing from people. info@thesethhouse.com. I think we have one person, Titan. But first I want to say it's Earth time East New York is 5:52. But like we said, we'll talk as much as you guys want to talk, and we want to give you the tour of the house, and you can ask questions, and we can talk freely more too. We just have Titan. It looks like you found a place to charge up, and you're sitting in it. There he is. Thumbs up. So undo your mic and let's hear from Titan. And thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
I hope you're all well. I usually have so much to say. I will do my absolute best to keep this very, very succinct. I've gone through various waves of questioning, challenging everything, exploring everything, and various waves of awakening to new stages of comprehension. And the Seth material was that it came into my awareness when I was going through a wave of exploring the esoteric, the occult, metaphysics, psychic abilities, psychic capacities, reincarnation, extraterrestrials, life after death, basically the whole can of worms, and channeling it as well, of course. and I had met a woman who just on the same day that I walked in opened up a metaphysical bookstore in the little town where I lived in Southwest New Jersey, and we were like old friends from the time we met, and I would go over there all the time, and I was reading everything. But the thing is I always filtered everything through my internal truth detector. I would open up books and I'd, just randomly and quote unquote randomly, and I'd read a page or two, and if it resonated, I would explore it further, and if it didn't, I just put it down and continue on. And when I encountered the Seth material for the first time, I read it, and my mind, like for whatever reason, at the moment, I didn't get it. However, something internally told me to read it. So I started exploring, and I bought every single Seth book that was available in print at the time. And it was like, and it wasn't just by Jane Roberts and, Robert Butts. It was also by people from Jane's ESP class, like Susan Watkins, various other people who had written books about it, their experiences. So it was this whole like concentric circle of books. So I had like 40 or some books, and I put them all in chronological order, and I started reading them. And I'll try to keep this super short. So I was reading, and I started to notice, like, I started to have these experiences, and it was very, very interesting. And it was in waves, or like it unfolded in stages. I'd be reading, and it's usually when, say, Seth, well, first of all, the first thing is the material is extremely dense. There's no fluff at all, but it's very dense. And I'd be reading, and like I'd read like a few pages, and then I'd be like, whoa, I just have to process. So I close my eyes, close the book, lay down for a little bit, process, open the book, continue on, and then for a while. And then the next stage of it was I'd be reading, and it's usually when, say, Seth or Seth 2, we're talking about some aspect of greater reality, greater identity, the stages of unfoldment, the potentialities of consciousness. And I started to get this really interesting sensation in my head. And I later learned it was connected with the pineal gland. The pineal gland was turning on and off. It felt like gears or something speeding up. It was like, and then it felt like I was connected to these infinite interconnected threads of, well, it's I can't even call it information, because that's a flat term. It's multidimensional. It was like information, ideas, concepts, images, feeling nuances, words sometimes. And so what would be happening is I'd be reading, and then reading Seth or Seth 2, and what would be coming through my inner doors would be fleshing out what they were expressing, and just my mind was blown over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And this went on for a while. And then the next stage of this was that I would go out, just out and about talking to people, and someone would say something, and then that thing would start in my head. And then all this stuff would start to come down in relation, or like filter in relation to what they were saying. And I knew that, like, it didn't come in as words. I had it because it was very linear. I had, like, this was very nonlinear. It would, words are very linear. I knew I had to translate it correctly, like accurately, because it could be translated very poorly or more accurately. And I'm a stickler for good translations. So I would just start speaking and translating on the fly. And I'd be, people's minds were getting blown, and I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. This was like, and I got into Seth when I was like mid to late teens, early 20s. And, people's minds were getting blown. They're like, what the hell? And then the next stage of this was that I noticed something. Every now and again, someone would say something, the thing would start in my head, and then all this stuff would come down to be translated, and I'd be like, okay. I'd start speaking, but I noticed something. With some people, it flowed effortlessly, and with other people, it kept getting blocked. It just like it was like haltered. It was like it just kept getting blocked. It wasn't smooth, and I was very curious about this and a bit frustrated. And then I kind of got the intuitive download that it was basically what I said, and what came, what I said and how easily it flowed was directly related to where the individuals were in terms of their stage of psycho-spiritual development. Basically, what they would allow themselves to hear. So I was like, after that, I just stopped trying to force anything at all. then the next thing I noticed was that at some point that sensation in my head, it never returned, but the inner door never stopped. Like I can access it any time. It's always there. And I use it all, like my perspective on existence has never been the same. Like I've never been the same. I do energy. I do a lot of things. I'm a very ridiculously multidimensional creature, but I use it in many contexts. One of which is I do healing work, deep integral energy work, body work, tantric work. And this comes in handy, believe me. The last stage of this that I noticed was that every now and again, and it was very rare, but every now and again I'd encounter somebody, and this whole thing would, this thing would start, and I'd be speaking, and given that what I said and how easily it flowed was directly related to where someone was in terms of their, like unfoldment and what they would allow themselves to hear, every now and again someone was close enough to wherever the heck I am, which I don't even know really, and what was coming out of my mouth was blowing my own mind at the same time. So since that time, the Seth material has been a deeply integral part of my perspective on existence. And it's the most aligned of all the perspectives in the world, is the most aligned. So that's my quick little, maybe 10 cents.
Thank you for your story. And yeah, the mind blown sense that we can get just reading this. It takes us into other dimensions, and it takes us into the center of ourself. So a wonderful journey, Titan. And,
yeah, indeed.
It continues.
Where are you from, Titan?
That I don't know exactly how to answer that. In a conventional context.
Wow, you really were thrown into another dimension here.
Well, I mean, Earth is, I love Earth and I love being human, but I'm aware of more. So I was born in Philadelphia. I grew up on a thoroughbred horse farm in Southwest Rural New Jersey. I was married to a woman from Costa Rica for over 10 years. So I lived and traveled through Costa Rica for over 10 years. I lived in Arizona for 9 years, Texas for 4, about a little over a year in Dallas, and almost 3 years in Austin. Then 5 months in Arlington, Virginia, in the DC area, and then out to, and at that time I was connected with some people in West Virginia, and then I bounced out to Oregon. 8 months there.
Where are you now?
No. I was 8 months there, 7 months of which were in Eugene, and then I came to Hawaii, and that's where I am now. I've been on the island for 1 year, 11 months, and what is today? Today is the 22nd, so 22 days. And I've been at this property. I live in an intentional community, way out in the jungle, in Lower Puna, in Northeast Hawaii. So things are like, not much has particularly changed for me, because we get our electricity from solar, our water comes from the rain. We grow a lot of food in the property, so it's all about the same to me.
Right.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, is there anyone else that needs to share anything? Because I think we're ready to give the tour of the house.
Or at least the apartment.
Yeah, the apartment. Yeah.
You ready?
All right. So everyone now is muted.
Oh, no, don't mute them.